Welcome back to my craft room, everyone. I've been away for a while. I apologize. Personal stuff going on. I think I mentioned that a couple videos ago. But I'm back to the fun today. So what I've done here, I just turned my fan up high. It's blowing everything around. I have pulled out the items I think I'm going to be using today on a 2-page 12 by 12 setup, a scrapbook page. So I wanted to share these with you before we got started. I'm using Close to My Heart's Limeade ink, and I'm also using their avocado. The avocado had gone retired a little while ago, so you may or may not have that, but I will flash across the screen what are the comparable colors in Stampin' Up for these two inks. So there's that. I am going to be using the Country Flowers, and I do have the stamp and die set here. And I order my own 5x7 magnetic sheets to put in with my stamps and dies because I like to keep them all together. And then over here, you'll see I've noted 15 dies because there's an uneven number of dies to stamps. So there's that. I've been getting a lot of use out of this. And the bundles are on sale, I think they're on sale till the last day of the month. So it's any day now. And this is an old Close to My Heart one called Sprigs and Leaves. If you have any kind of die like this that would be good for leaves, go ahead and use that. This is another one I've used a lot. And these are the dies from Stampin' Up called Spotlight on Nature. And I just love these. They're so... you could use this on almost everything. So I'm getting my use out of this. I've already paid for it 10 times over, I think. And then papers. This is a paper that I think it's still available online, but a bunch of stuff just fell on the ground. This is still available online, and it's called Dandy Designs. And I want to show you, look at all the paper you get in this. And I might order more if they're still available because that is a lot of paper. There have to be 40 sheets maybe, and they're double-sided. So the ones that I'll probably be using today, this pink I just love, and see, it's like a crisscross design there, and then there's a tone-on-tone floral on the back there. I love this floral. I could see using that on a card easy. And then we have this one, and this is on the flip side, and there you go on those. Then I brought out my Zinnia papers, and you can see I've been getting some use out of this. I didn't get the die with this, and I wish I had, but I've been doing some fussy cutting. Fussy cutting just means you're cutting around the sides of it. And I'm cutting obviously right on the edge to avoid getting any of those other colors in there. So that is the flip side of the zinnias on one paper, the smaller side or a smaller print. This one I had fun with, cutting this down the center on something I've just made. I don't think it's gonna be today's though. And a very bright opposite side to that. And I did use this on a card I'll be sharing with you soon. And this is another paper. That's the flip side. So this side right here. All three of these would look really good. I've got my grandkids going through like a cornstalk maze. This would be really good for that, for fall. So there's what I'm going to be using. So let me get everything situated here. I'll start the intro and we'll get these pages going. Here we have some pictures I'm going to use on these pages from our visit to Bouchard Gardens, and I believe this is in 2017. My hubby's standing against a great wall there. This is a tea house there. If you have a chance to go, Bouchard Gardens is right above the Washington, Canada line. Phenomenal flowers if you're into gardening like I am. I thought these were just unusual shaped flowers. So I've got those all matted up in the papers I had shown to you prior to this. This is how I do my dovetails, and I just kind of bend it over and then cut. I don't smush it down so there's no crease in it, but I find that way it's easier to get even on each side. And I'm going to bring 6 of these in across the 2 pages. They weren't intended to be straight. I wanted a little difference in length. Looking back, I think I should have made them a little bit more different. But anyways, it works. Here I'm bringing in the zinnia paper, and I wanted it to stand out a little. So I'm bringing in close to my heart's royal paper. I'm looking down on my cheat notes because if you're using Stampin' Up's papers, their color that's comparable is called Gorgeous Grape. And I am going to tape that down, and then I will cut out, as you see here, I'll be cutting out the dovetail, and then I'm just trying to copy the lines that I created by just folding it over previously. So the zinnia paper, obviously it's busy, so I'm going to be using it in small amounts, but just so we all know it's there. And so the pictures that I'm using are going to cover up a portion of that zinnia paper. And I think we're almost there. Let me tell you, those non-stick scissors I have, those are the bomb. I love those. Those are great when you're using, you know, your sticky foam tapes. They are just awesome. Nothing sticks to them. So I'm going to bring this all the way up to the top on both sides. Then you're going to see me bring in a portion of that pink paper from the first collection I had shown to you. I bring in a 12 by ½ inch piece. There we go. And I'm going to put that in the top, at the top, to kind of mask the ends of those green and floral papers coming down. And here I'm showing a little bit of a trick. I decided to use the opposite side of the paper than I had intended when I cut. So you'll notice sometimes when you cut, there's a ridge on the opposite side of your paper. So if you lay down your piece of paper and just take your bone folder and run it across the edges, that kind of gets rid of that edge on your paper, and it makes it, you know, look like it's the right side. I always have to turn something like this towards me so I can walk down my papers, and I just like to make sure I'm doing it right. And even here on this one, I think I got it off just a little bit. No big deal. We'll just cut that little edge off on the right-hand side. No one will know, except us. So here we go. Just turn it over, and I cut from the back side. And there we go. The joy of doing these voiceovers is I can go out and cut the fluff and kind of do it at my own speed. And then also my husband gets to sit in my craft room with me at night, and I turn my camera on and I just do my recordings, and he can be with me, and then I come into my office a little bit later and I do these voiceovers for you. It works out great for us. Here I come back in with the pictures. So again, I printed my pictures. Again, I use Canon luster paper, which is always linked below. But I have gone ahead and I've cut them out with a white border. And so it looks like a double-layered mat, but it's not. And so that pink paper is from the first set of papers I had shown to you at the beginning of the video. And let me see if I have it handy so I can tell you what it is again. It's called Dandy Designs. And it's only available, from what I know, online at Stampin' Up. So give it a look, but it's well worth your money on that one. I mean, I'll be using it for a while. And there must be like 5 or 6 different color families in that package of paper. So now I'm going to show you a technique I've done for a while, and it's very, very handy and quick. I'm coming back in with that die you had seen me talk about at the beginning of the video. It's actually from close to my heart, but you could use any die. Here I'm pulling out some blending brushes. And so I've gone ahead and I've die cut this, and I've pulled out the negative portion of that die, and I'm putting the die cuts back in the holes where they were cut from. So into the negative side. Here I'm just trying to get out those little extra pieces. Sometimes if you just do a little tap on your crafting mat, it'll come out, but I'll come back to that later. So now I'm going to bring in the limeade ink. And I had given you the comparable inks at the beginning of the video that you could use with Stampin' Up. And I have a scratch piece of paper there that I'm kind of stamping off first, so I don't get a big blob of ink in one spot. And I'm coming in and very lightly going to each of those die cuts. And this way, when you do it, you don't have to worry about the ink only staying where it belongs. You can come off the edges, and you'll see when you pull this out from the negative portion, it looks really great. And it doesn't, you know, I don't know, I think it looks a little bit more intentional, or I guess non-intentional actually. So it looks like it's just they call it a bleed off the paper. And a nice soft hand when you're doing this, not too much pressure, and a circular motion. Here I'm holding down one of the pieces that was a little bit more delicate, that was wanting to pop up, and that works well too. And then if you have those little delicate pieces, try and do the circular motion going down and away from them. I think that helps instead of going up against them. So I think I'm about to the end of this, and you'll notice at the top left, I realized a little bit later I forgot one, the very top. So now I'm bringing back in the avocado, and I'm going to bring in my little tiny blending brush. And I don't believe they have those over at Stampin' Up, so I'll find those online for you. I'm going to zoom you in here so you can see a little bit closer what I'm going to do here. So this is, I've just picked a darker tone of a green, and I'm going to come into the stem and to the bottom portion of each of those leaves for some shading and some dimension. And I think it really, really helps. And I do keep a blending brush for every color family, and then on my blending brushes too, I never use any of my blending brushes with my Distress Oxide. That's a different form of ink, and you never want to mix up those two, just a FYI. So keep in mind that these, if you get a oh my gosh, I'm dropping the word. My goodness. Oh, if you get the sets on Stampin' Up right now, they're 10% off. And also the die and cutting machines are also 10% off until the last day of this month. So we've only got a couple days left. So I would encourage you to hop over and get those. And keep in mind too that if you order over $150 worth, that you don't want to use a host code. You want to just put it under your name, because then you get all the hostess credits. So I think we're almost there. I think we have 2 more to go here. Bouchard Gardens. Now that we live in Washington, I think I want to go back up there. It's the perfect time of year to go back up. Let's see. I'm trying not to scrapbook all of my flower pictures. So I just made this a double page layout for this adventure. I had so many pictures of flowers, you guys. It got a little out of hand. So anyways, so we're going to try and ring that in a little bit, because when I did my last pages on a garden that we went to, I think I did like 6 pages. So anyways, I'm only gonna have 2. So I love this. This particular die set also came as a bundle. Bundle's the word. The bundles are on sale. There we go. It was in the back of my brain. But this came with a, this one from Close to My Heart came with a stencil, and it also came with an embossing folder. So this one was a great one to have, and it won't be leaving my collection anytime soon because I use it quite a bit. So see how that looks when you bring it out? I love that. And keep in mind, the ink always dries, excuse me, lighter than it goes on. And you'll see I'm putting these all in my tray that I keep next to me because I'm not sure how many I'll use or if I'll use them on another sheet. So I always keep this little tray full of options for me. So when I'm sitting putting everything together, I have everything I need right next to me. This is when I realized I didn't do the one at the top. Okay, so I'm going to clean off my brushes off camera here. And, oh, I know, I forgot. I'm going to show you this. Remember that when you've got the negative portion of your dies, you can use those as a stencil. So I'm showing you here that you can definitely use these as stencils, and I'm trying to do a really light hand here, and you could then do these anywhere on your sheets, on your 12 by 12 sheets, on your cards, just as a really soft effect. You'll see here in a minute, and I love it. This ink goes perfect with, see, look at that. I think that looks great, guys. I really do, and you can use that in so many different ways. So now I'm going to start putting everything down, and I always use my T-ruler here because Susan has a way of making things sometimes a little crooked. So I try very hard to use my T-ruler here. And again, I hope that Stampin' Up will come up with something like this, because this, I've never seen a T-ruler like this. I did look for something like this for you guys online. Didn't see anything that was comparable. That top, the T portion of the ruler is magnetized, and I love that. And when you flip it over like this, it really hooks down to our mats there, because there's a little ledge, so it makes it so easy. Okay, so everything's now glued down. Now I'm going to come in with all the bells and whistles. This is where I've used those new nature dies again. I love them. Bringing in my Cricut spatula to pull up some of that tape. And I'm just going to start playing around with some of the die cuts I've made. Some of those zinnias that I have fussy cut. And I'm trying to then, you know, bring your eye with that purple down to each of the pages, or make your eye go from one page to another. And I wanted to bring in more of that purple that I've lined the zinnia paper with. And here's one of those ones that I've fussy cut. And I think we bring in one more there, and then another one in the lower right-hand corner. And this is where I brought in, it's almost like a milk jug, I would say, from that one Stampin' Die set I had shown to you at the beginning of the video. And this greenery was also in that set. And then in that set, there's a stamp for the flower market sign on that jug. So that's what I did. And then I just I stamped them in Memento ink. And this one, you can see that there's a little bit of green there on the side on a leaf that used to be there. And I'm just going to try and tuck that under that one picture. And then I think it's about time we're going to bring in some of that greenery. And you're going to see me playing around with it a little. And of course, it's never going to go right back in the spot where I had it. But I can get an idea of how many I want to go and where I want them to go at. And keep in mind with something like these leaves, you can always cut off a couple of the leaves and take it down shorter if need be. So at the end of this video, I always put still shots so you'll be able to see what things look like a little bit closer up, which is important. Some of these things are not very visible on screen. So you'll get to see closer what the leaves look like, and you'll also get to see the little gems I'll bring in here in a moment. This little spatula, if you can get, I got off-brand, I believe it was, on the spatula for my Cricut tools. This has been a very valuable tool for me. I've been using it a lot lately in my craft room for lifting things up without ripping paper. You just got to be very gentle with it. And I think pretty soon I'll be putting this stuff down. It looks like I am now. So I've cut down some of the edges on this, on some of the leaves. So on July 3rd, Stampin' Up! Is bringing back in its final collection of Close to My Heart products. And there's like 3 or 4 different sets. So I'll be ordering those to share with you. So look for those in the near future. I've got a couple card sets coming out here next week also, so I can demonstrate those with you. And I'm going to be using the same papers that I've used here. Here, I don't know where these gems dots came from, these acrylic dots. I'm using a small, medium, and large dot in each of these areas, but they were just from my stash. I couldn't tell you where they're from. But they are a kind of a yellow, more of a like kind of mustard yellow. They went really well with this paper. Here I'm struggling to get the last one down. So we're coming to the tail end of this video. So I wanted to encourage you all, if you could, is to do a like, subscribe, share it with your friends as I'm trying to build back up this channel as I've been away for a little while, and that would be greatly appreciated. And I'm in the midst of building my official website, so if you would like to be included, just drop me a line with your email address. My email is down below, but I'm going to keep you in touch with all the sales that are happening, and sometimes I do things just for my little private group. And that private group is over on Facebook, and you can join over there. Just a few questions it asks when you come in. So I think this will be my last one. So as I say goodbye, I want to thank you each for following along, and hope to see you soon here in my craft room. Thank you. Bye-bye.